Welcome to Subramani. It is Ayn Rand who talks about unworthy heirs and how they don't know how to handle their money, but here we are not talking about that. I see a lot of kids who are completely and totally irresponsible towards their money. But let me add that these are a very small minority. Mostly kids I meet are fairly good, respectful. They would read books. They just conform to what you think is a good boy. Sure, they go for discos and whatever things which you may not have done when you were that age for whatever reasons. Maybe there were not enough discs around at that time, or they were so far away that you couldn't afford to go. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, most of these kids are very well behaved, and I meet a lot of wealthy kids and wealthy parents. And but the question to ask is, if you are going to leave money to your children, how do you make sure that they are competent enough to handle this? That's a very important question to answer. And secondly, I also see children whose both parents are working their butt off to make life good, and some of these kids not taking any responsibility at all. Can you imagine a 28-year-old boy who has not earned a rupee in his life, who is qualified? He first did his BCom, and then typical parental insecurity, he paid money and got an MBA in HR, that is human resources. And then this fellow went on to qualify as a company secretary. Good that he was reasonably competent in whatever he did. So now he is 28 and he wants to work in some other field. He wants to maybe get into digital marketing. To me, that is a shudder, right? What has happened is parental worries that they themselves, like the mother is not very educated. She's a graduate. The father is done his MBA. But out of guilt that we are not taking enough care of the children, they first put them through an MBA because it has become a sine qua non for getting a job. After that, the kid finds that, oh, HR is not something which suits me, because HR is something which they chose because they thought, okay, finance, I'll have to compete with chartered accountants, etc. So finance is difficult. Marketing means I have to go out and sell. So HR is not a positive choice, it's a negative choice, right? So having done all that, then this kid is currently doing nothing, right? So 28 unemployed, I think that is not on, right? And I see also some of these kids being pampered by parents, buying them a 2 lakh rupee motorcycle. A 2 lakh rupee motorcycle by a family with a net worth of 3-4 crores is still okay, but 2 lakh rupee motorcycle by a mother with a net worth of 80 lakhs to me is just not okay. I told her that she doesn't have enough money for her retirement. She should not be indulging him, but she's a single parent, and single parents, I somehow feel, indulge more than parents who are together. Let us understand one thing: whatever we worry about our next generation, they are going to inherit a lot of money. That may not be very significant for kids who are doing very well in life. Sorry. So if a kid has got his right degree, has gone to IIM, is earning 50 lakhs, then that kid inheriting 50 lakhs will not matter. It is just 1 year annual income. However, when a parent has accumulated a lot of equity and he's bought nice real estate and that is all appreciated, and the kid is just earning about an average salary, which means he's qualified as an engineer and he's earning a 3 lakh rupees starting salary, if he's going to inherit 3 crores or 4 crores, that is a huge amount of money, right? So what should be parents doing? First of all, you realize that you're giving them a big amount of money. That is not enough. So first thing, make sure that you teach your children money management right from day one, right? Ask them when you were in class 3, class 4, send them to shops, give them cash. Find out, when you give them a 100 rupee note and they have spent 56 rupees, ask them to count and see whether they've got back 44, right? Slowly involve them in all the decisions, and I mean, you could involve them when they were 5 years old, when they want to buy their own dress, make them pick their own chairs, make them pay cash in counters so that they know that something has to be given to get something. Don't just swipe a card for everything that you buy, even for your monthly groceries. Take them grocery shopping, ask them to look at the prices, ask them to read labels. That is very important money management skill. Let them read the prices, let them decide why you're making these choices. Tell them that in the shopping experience that you have, that all the difficult to reach places have the better products at more good value for money. At eye-catching level are the more expensive goods. So teach them all this. There is nobody in the world who is going to teach them these basics. Teach them that going to Crawford Market to buy things has got two connotations. One is you get very good prices. Second, you get very good quality because of the turnover speed that happens. All that has to be taught. You cannot hope that somebody will teach. Neither the schooling system, nor the college, nor the office. Nobody is going to teach them basics of money. Teach them what is term insurance, what is medical insurance, how much insurance you have, who is your agent, why you take medical insurance, why you are investing in the mutual fund, how much you are investing, and if you have done very good goal-based investing, explain to them why you are doing goal-based investing. Class 9 is when they start understanding all this. Don't worry, start saying this right from class 6, class 7. Some of the kids are capable of understanding. Or it will be like, how you start talking to your kid. You start talking to your kid the day the kid is born. He looks at you, reads your lips, and one day he starts talking like you, and you're amazed that he's 1 year old and he's able to call out your name or your mama, papa, whatever, right? So exactly like that. Keep drilling in these things. Teach them money. Giving them money is easy. Teaching them money is necessary, right? So talk about your successes. Talk about your failures. Say how much. It's perfectly all right to talk to your children about your financial health. Right, tell them how much money you have, how much of how much of retirement plan is in place, why you're going to retire at 48, how you're going to retire at 49, whatever, all those secrets, right? How much you have saved up, why that asset allocation, why more equity, why more real estate, whatever you have done. How much credit card debt is good, how do you use your credit card, why you use your credit card to pay all your utility bills, and now that credit card is free to you now. How you use the lounge services. Just let them know everything. Let them know that whether you have a will, whether you're going to leave money in a will or in a trust, whether they're going to get any inheritance at all, or explain to them that right now you're planning that they will get so much in inheritance. However, if you spend too much during your old age, or you spend much more than what you think, then that inheritance amount will go down, right? Tell them about your big wins, big losses, job wins, big contracts won, contracts lost, contract loss due to stupidity, right? Contract loss due to competition. Let them understand all that. Explain to your children how you got to where you are, what right things you did, and more important, what are the failures that you have had, especially in service or whether in business, and whether you're going to hand over the business to them or do they have to compete with your employees, why you are treating your son and daughter differently, are they going to inherit equally, or are you going to say, okay, I spent 1 crore for my daughter's wedding, or I spent 50 lakhs for my daughter's wedding, so I'm going to pay her less, or are you going to say, I spent so much on my son's education, so I'm going to give him this much less, or are you going to say, my son is qualified as a doctor and I paid for every rupee of the clinic or the dispensary that he set up, therefore I'm going to give my daughter a little more as inheritance, right? So necessary that you say all that. And one more thing which I noticed, which I did, and I'm very happy that I did, is one daughter wanted the house that they had, and the house was too expensive. She couldn't have afforded buying out her brother. Her parents did not, of course the parents should have known that the kids, her kids, which means their grandkids, would come there, play on the jula, and they were very attached to the house. And the father wanted to say, I want to give the money equally to my son and my daughter. In fact, he wanted to give more to the son. And this nice house in Bombay was going to the son, who would have anyway sold off because he was in the US. So he would have sold it off after the parents' death, and it would have gone then the money would have got divided. I knew that the daughter was fond of this house. So when the son dropped by, I mean, he had come to India and he dropped by, I spoke, and then I'm very happy that I'll tell you the story.